When I recorded my rant, I forgot to give a spoiler warning. Yeah, this rant will have spoilers for Cold Steel 4 and just in case, pretty much the entire franchise and possibly some other Falcon games too. Like, not major stuff, but there'll be a few things. So, if you don't want to be spoiled for anything, click off this video now. Anyways, enjoy the rant! So one thing I noticed over my time in engaging the Falcon community is that people for some reason really like Trails of Cold Steel 4, which does not make sense to me. Like, maybe I'm just very picky, but when I was playing that game, I was like, this was legitimately one of the worst video games I've ever played. At least story wise. The gameplay was still amazing. You could always trust Falcon with their gameplay, but oh god, their writing. It's somehow the most genius and yet most bullshit thing you've ever seen. So yeah, I'm just gonna go on a rant about Cold Steel 4 because I just need to get this off my chest. So we'll start with a few small things. There was many of the character interactions in Cold Steel 4 felt off. Like when Ash shot the Emperor, it was like a big character moment for him in Cold Steel 3, and then the thing is, what I'm mad about is no one was really mad at him or distrustful. Like I know they knew it was because of the curse and everything, and I understand Yuna not caring because she seems like that's high about Tina wouldn't really care and Rain doesn't care, but I feel like Kurt would care. Like Kurt's whole thing is he's training, like his family is in charge of protecting the members of the royal family, and he clearly has a close relationship with Cedric. So I feel like he would have been still angry or at least annoyed at Ash for shooting the Emperor. Like again, I know he knows about the whole curse thing, but for me, it would have been good writing for if Kurt was mad at Ash, since Ash had been trying to piss off Kurt for all of Cold Steel 3, and it was failing. He could not piss off Kurt. So if Ash finally ticked off Kurt, but not in the way he wanted, it would have been very poetic. Another thing I had an issue with was Muse in general. I'm gonna be honest, Muse is probably one of my least favorite characters in the entire franchise. Like, I don't actively hate her, but she was very much, how do I say, well, I didn't like how she was basically committing sexual harassment against Reen for the entirety of Cold Steel 3 and 4. Like, seriously, Reen couldn't do freaking anything, and unless you specifically chose to pursue Muse, which if you did, you need to get checked out, you can tell that he was very much uncomfortable. And they just play it off as a joke, which is honestly the thing I have wrong with Angelica, because Angelica has to die. She needs to be thrown into a volcano and just disappear. Honestly, that's a whole another complaint I have with the franchise. But yeah, point is, in Cold Steel 4, Muse, um, she begins Operation. I don't remember the name. It was Mirage or something like that. Mirage. So she gets convinces all of the major nations of Zemuria to form an alliance against the Empire, while also getting support from various rebel factions within the Empire. And instead of committing to this, she's like, nah, I'm going to join my friends. And yeah, she was going to commit at first, but freaking Yuna convinced her to join them instead and start committing to this massive operation that she knew would kill millions of people to instead join their vanity project. Which, yeah, their vanity project ended up working out much better than Muse's original plan, but Muse had a responsibility. God, she came up with this massive plan. She was very much conflicted about it because she knew it would hurt millions of people. So it's her responsibility to go through with the plan if she believes it is truly for the best. But no, she just gives it up, gives the responsibility to someone else, and that. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Muse should have not been a main playable character. Yeah, she should have been playable, but she should have been a playable side character and not a member of the main cast. Or maybe Crow, he's clearly meant to be a main character, but he's not, playable for most of the games. It's meant to be a secondary main character sort of way. I feel like Muse should have been that in a way. which makes the question who would they replace Musée with? Which, I mean, they already have one. I forget the name, but there was like this one blue haired girl in Cold Steel 3 that was for some reason randomly playable in a single quest. Like it wasn't even that long. It was like a you could beat the fight in like 5 minutes, and that was it. And she was also playable again for like a same quest in the Cold Steel 4 for some other dude. So like they had someone clearly in mind they wanted to use, but just probably had to cut her out of development. And but since they had her combat assets already made, they're like, you know what? We'll give her a side quest because we already have some of her move sets already made. At least that's what I feel like. I do feel like it's like Lorraine or something like that. I fully don't even remember her name, but she was clearly meant to be more significant into the story, but they had to cut it out. So yeah, they could have replaced Musée with her. And again, Musée couldn't be completely cut out. She like again could be like Chloe in the story, a major secondary character. That's like super important to the plot and is playable during big chapters, but it's not playable throughout the entire game. Um, though to be perfectly honest with you, I honestly was not a big fan of them reviving Crow. Then again, it's because Falcon has a huge mistake of reviving characters. Like, it's impossible for them to kill people off. If they kill someone off, they will inevitably bring them back. So, when they killed off Prince Olivet in the end of Cold Steel 3, I was like, okay, so when the hell is he going to come back? It's like, I felt no emotion. I wasn't even sad that Olivet died. I was like, cool. He'll be probably back halfway in the fourth game. And yep, he came back halfway in the fourth game. Though for some reason, when they did that, they for some reason made Laura's dad randomly evil. For some effing reason. Like, why? Other than him being a cool boss fight. Like, they only did it because they knew he'd be a cool boss fight. There was no other reason, story-wise, to make Laura's dad suddenly become mind-controlled. And, like, oh, God. Oh. That just made no sense. Like, come on, we already had McBurn and everything. They could have just kept McBurn and maybe had us fight Laura's dad in a side quest near the end of the game because they had like 50 different side quests in like the last chapter of the game, despite the fact that the war was about to break out any minute. But no, let's do a celebration, a big party. Let's do a fishing side quest. A side quest I couldn't complete despite the fact that I had everything I needed, looked up where the damn fish was online, and because I couldn't complete the quest, I couldn't get the game's true ending. Ugh. God. Which, okay, you know what? That's something else I want to get annoyed with. Like, no, that's not getting off topic. Let's go back to the whole character killing thing. So, I actually play my game. I actually did play the Cold Steel games with my sister, and she came up with this idea of what if like how Million became the sword for Reen? Like instead of that, what if like Altina got her own mech suit instead of Crow? Like Crow's mech suit would somehow be passed down to Altina. Then Crow would become the sword for Reen, and Million would become the sword for Altina. Because let's be honest, Million and Altina are biologically sisters, and Reen and Crow are basically brothers from a different mother. So it would make sense symbolically for the souls to both be used as the swords. And because Milliam's ghost wasn't Cold Steel 4, they still could have brought Crow back as like a sword in a way. And yeah, you know what? You still could have revived them at the end of the game because both of them end up being fully revived at the end of Cold Steel 4. So you still could have done that, but you actually had maybe a more logical excuse to bring Crow back instead of him not only being partially dead. Which, again, actually, the original plan still could have worked if they just didn't kept doing it. Like, I know they have the story reasons, but it just felt so cheap. Like, every time they threatened to kill someone off, and I knew they weren't going to die because every time someone else died, they brought them back. But they just kept bringing them back. Like he's dead. He was dead, but now he's back. And then, they fake out the death for, Prince Olivet and everyone aboard the ship, and they don't all die. It just felt cheap. Which, again, is also not even just a problem with the Trail series. I seen them do it in Ys 9, and they also seem to be doing in Tokyo Xanadu. I actually didn't complete the epilogue because that was the whole point of the epilogue, if I'm correct. And I'm like, no, no, I give up. I don't want to play this game anymore. Its writing is killing me now. Yeah, literally, it's so bad. I ended up abandoning a Falcon game because I just didn't want to deal with that shit anymore. So yeah, it's a big problem with Falcon. Um, Another problem I actually had with the Great War itself. So the Great War, it lasts a single day. Like, they were hyping it up for multiple hours, and it was hilarious. They're like, oh, the war's going to start soon. 20 hours later. Oh, the war is going to really start soon now. 20 more hours later. And I'm like, okay, you're hyping up this war for, like, the entire game, and when they finally get to it, it only lasts a single day. And, like, I understand why. I understand in some ways. Because, like, no one really wanted the war, but, like, the Empire did. They clearly wanted the war. Like, the Empire spent months lying to their people, giving them propaganda to justify the declaration of war. And one day, they suddenly were like, nope, we don't want to do the war. And you're supposed to tell me the royal family somehow stopped that from blowing over into a whole revolution? Because legitimately speaking, that would have started a revolution in the country. They spent months lying about justification for a war to suddenly go, whoops, we're not doing it. Like, even, I know the royal family is skilled, but even they wouldn't be able to stop massive social unrest like that. Then again, honestly, I think the whole royal family's screwed anyways. Like, besides all of it, they clearly have issues. Cedric clearly knows he was in the wrong after Cold Steel 4, and he went into self-exile. And I forget the name of the sister, but, like, she's kind of annoying, honestly. She just kept shipping her best friend with her stepbrother. Because, again, like, in Japan, it's like, if they're not blood related, then they can just start smooching. And it's just gross. So I never really liked her either. And then the Emperor, I find him to be a pathetic man, really. Like, he just went along with Osborne's plan to, like, cause a massive devastation simply because he read the stuff was going to happen in the book. He didn't even try to stop it. He's like, oh, fuck it. If this is going to happen, then sure, why not? Like, if I was in his shoes, I would have at least tried to stop it. Not just painfully accept it. At least not initially. I would maybe painfully accept it if I found no other ways to try it. And maybe he did that. It's been a while since I played the game, but they barely state that. But yeah, everyone was, like, being super respectful for him, and I'm like, the entire time, I feel like I was thinking, like, he's just a pathetic human being. Like, there's a reason why, what is it, sloth is considered a 7 deadly sin. Like, he's not evil, but I would not he's not someone, in my opinion, worth giving respect. But yeah, I just didn't like the Emperor dude either. And finally, the fi- finally, I want to talk about the curse. I know some people like the curse. I fucking hate it. Truth be told, I was getting into the Cold Steel series after I finished the Valkyria Chronicle games. I was looking for something like Valkyria Chronicles. And yeah, I know they're not completely the same, but when I saw they had, like, it was 20th century art style to it, I was fascinated. So I bought the game, played Cold Steel 1. It was okay, but that me interesting. Played Cold Steel 2. One of the best games I ever played. Probably my favorite one in the entire arc, to be perfectly honest. Played Cold Steel 3. Fantastic at the beginning. Legitimately felt nostalgia for the first two Cold Steel games. It went downhill after that. Like, Cold Steel 3 rapidly went downhill after, like, the halfway mark. Even I'm stating now, Cold Steel 4 was just a disaster. But, like, I've always liked ideas of, like, conflicts being stopped by humanity and stuff. So I was thinking, like, the whole political stuff is going to be stopped by, like, humanity just being stupid and suck. But no, they blame everything on the curse. and they tried to do a half-ass explanation that's like, oh, it actually is humanity's fault. But again, it was fucking half-assed, and they only did it for like a second, in a lame way to try to justify the curse. And like, so yeah, literally everything in the gosh darn fucking franchise happened because of a stupid curse. There was no real human emotion. Like they're like, oh, the curse amplifies emotions. Like no, it looks like it fucking mind controls them. Like when I've seen it, it looks like it literally alters memories to help people justify their angry, built-up emotions. And you know what? Because that could have worked if it just didn't feel. I could see the potential in it. It just was so poorly executed. It felt like a fucking cop out, like for everything. Like I know they weren't trying to do it, but it felt like they were giving excuses that no one's actually evil. They were just being controlled by a fucking curse. Oh, he massacred an entire village. It's the curse's fault. Yada yada yada. Blah 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 blah. Everything's the curse's fault. Astro and the Emperor, not his fault. It was the curse. It was controlling him. It's not like you can. Some people can theoretically resist the curse's urge. Which yeah, no, the curse was just utter bullshit. It legitimately knew it killed the franchise for me. Like, I was not even. I honestly probably would have not played any more Trailers games. It was the fact that Daybreak just looked so cool with its combat and everything. Because, like, I skipped Reverie. I hated. I knew I was going to hate Reverie. I self spoiled myself, so I knew what was going to happen in Reverie. It was just going to be the crossbow arc all over again, kind of a repeat of the curse. And then they were going to redeem a character that I really didn't think needed to be redeemed. He was cooler as a villain. Yes, I'm talking about Rufus. I didn't think Rufus should be redeemed. I thought he was cool as a villain. He didn't seem like one of those villains you would redeem, to me at least. But yeah, no, Cold Steel 4 was just a bad game. It it really, in my honest opinion, I just really hated the game. Like, you spend like 3 whole ass games. Like, Cold Steel 1 took me 60 hours. Cold Steel 2, 80 hours. Cold Steel 3, 111 hours. Cold Steel 4, that one took me 150 hours, and I didn't even get the true ending. And when I looked at the footage of the true ending and saw the final boss fight for Ishmelga, I think that's what it's pronounced, it was the most over-designed motherfucker I've ever seen. I'm like, who the hell designed him? That's horrible. And that's the final fight for this entire arc? The thing you've been building up for multiple different games now? Yeah, honestly, I know I'm just being petty in some ways. I think I'm honestly, I'm very. I have high standards for storytelling, and I know some people you like Cold Steel 4. I just couldn't like it. It was, in my opinion, just went against what I wanted the series to be. It just went against went against so much logic. It felt like an insult. It honestly felt like the curse felt like an insult to humanity itself. Because like it was like excusing our actions in a way. And yeah, I don't know. Cold Steel 4 was just I don't know. Well, that's gonna be it for the rant. I just wanted to get some of these things off of my chest. I no, yeah, I mean it's a rant. Of course, it's not gonna be cohesive. I realized I was going over the place, and there was definitely saliva in my mouth. I'm sorry. I probably also talk way too fast, but yeah. If you're still here, thank you for listening to my opinions, even if you probably, most likely, mathematically hate them all, because most people like Cold Steel 4. I'm in the minority. But that's besides the point. If you enjoyed the video, you enjoyed it. If you didn't, you didn't. That's fine. Well, see you guys.